Hi, I'm KT Tunstall and welcome to Sound Advice. So I'm going to talk to you about technique. I have always considered myself a really scrappy player. I never had guitar lessons. I did have piano lessons, so I had a classical training in music and learnt theory and learnt pieces by classical composers and obviously the technique of piano playing, but I never really felt I mastered it. And when I was about 15 in my school, there was a great guitar teacher who never offered me a lesson, but he always let me borrow a guitar and go to a room and just work it out for myself. And so I was in a very free place where I wasn't being taught technique and wasn't being told what was wrong and what was right. And that was a completely different experience than I'd had with piano playing, where there was a really definite line between what was right and what was wrong. And so guitar playing for me was a very free experience. It was very expressive. And I think it kind of is an illustration of everything that I use, my lead pedal stuff that's here in the background, which is that I basically learn how to use what I need. And it's pretty efficient. I'm not one of these people who kind of goes in and noodles and tries to learn everything. I kind of just learn what I need to do what I want to do. And so I started teaching myself guitar. And I started with just a busker book that had the tablature, which is like a little square. It shows you the 6 strings of the guitar and it shows you which strings to put your fingers on. And I learned 3 or 4 chords. 80% of songs right there. And then the other thing that was really interesting when I was learning guitar was a very popular technique of guitar playing is bar chords, which is basically, if you can see on the guitar, this here is that. I can't remember what it's called. It's like the nut or something. No, maybe that's the nut. I don't know. It's that thing that makes the strings gives the strings tension to give them their note. So when you play a bar chord, your finger is basically behaving like this. So you're moving the length of the strings up the neck. And what you do, so you apply a ton of pressure with that one finger. And so that's your E chord. That's F sharp. That's G sharp. That's A. That's B. Now you can play that chord here, but it sounds different. It's different voicing. So this bar chord basically gives you the ability to go anywhere on the guitar and play any chord. However, I have really bony fingers, and so my knuckles kind of get in the way, and I can't seem to ever play really clean bar chords. I was never able to do it. It's maybe a bit easier on an electric guitar, but not on an acoustic. So I just decided I'm not going to do that because it never sounded good to me. So instead, I just started playing around with voicings on the guitar where I played open strings. So this is E using open strings. I then use an A using open strings. And just all my chords. Never have all the notes closed. And the other thing that I've learned how to do is to mute strings as well. So like an F bar chord I can't play, so I use my thumb over the bottom instead, but that means I can't really dampen that top E string, so you get this really nice jazzy nature to your chords. And that open sound has actually become a really signature part of my sound, that the chords aren't totally conventional. And so I suppose the point of all of that is try not to see your failings at playing conventionally as a problem, and see if you can't use them a bit more creatively to your benefit, because the one thing that you really want is to sound different from other people.